Made podcast. We'll try to check this out because I got a little story for you before I jump into it. So I got this client, him and his wife, going back and forth. So what I do is I want to see how they really operate, right? So what I do is I let them talk for about 5 minutes, just going back and forth. One person brought up an issue that they had, and they see, here come the back and forth, slobbing it back and forth. You thought it was Venus and Serena just hitting it back. Naomi and Coco hitting it back and forth at each other, right? Just hitting the ball back and forth. I hit it, you hit it back. I hit it, you hit it back, right? And I'm just sitting there listening to them. So eventually I stop them because I couldn't take no more. One thing, right? I just couldn't take it no more. And it was escalating, right? Right in front of me. They were escalating right in front of me. So I know if they do this in front of me, ooh, how ugly it really gets at home, right? So I asked the brother, because the sister was the one who was bringing the concern, right? So I asked the brother, were you listening to what she said, or are you just hearing her? And he told me, what's the difference, right? And I went to thinking. I said, many men actually think this. Probably women too, but women tend to, because they always say, "I want to be heard. I want to be heard." So, only thing men know to do is hear them, right? I get to need my voice heard. I got to have my voice heard. That's so. Women, real talk. You probably need to stop saying that. I'm just gonna be honest with you. You probably need to stop saying that because literally, men are hearing you and they don't like what they hear, and you get in a response. But what you actually want them to do is listen to what it is that you're actually talking about. And so, as I was talking to him, and I'm saying, the difference between hearing and listening is with hearing, you're just waiting for the person really to be quiet so you can respond. But with listening, you would actually do this thing right here. And this is what we're going to jump into today. We always hear this word called, this phrase called active listening. But let's put some context on that, right? Because again, y'all know me. I come on these podcasts. We always talk about words. Everybody want to keep throwing words out there. They keep throwing words out there. Keep throwing words out there without really putting context, put meat on that. There's a bone, but they don't put meat on that bone, right? So we're gonna put meat on this bone with active listening today. So first, what I let him know was slow it down. That's the first thing you need to do. Slow it down. If you see that she done kind of got a little hyper, got a little agitated, whatever, one of the things that you would like to do in listening is to slow her down, right? And then acknowledge what it is that she's saying. Here's what acknowledgement does for you. It lets them know that you are paying attention, that you are present in the moment with her, that you are giving her your undivided attention, that you are really trying your best to make sure that you take in, if not everything, a majority of what it is that she's saying. Because sometimes, we take in a lot. Sometimes we can become overstimulated, right? What we call flooding, right? Sometimes we can get flooded. And when you find yourself being flooded, what you can do is just slow that thing down. So hold up. Too much coming at me at one time. Let me go back to that first thing you was talking about. You done gave me 5 things. I need to go back to that first thing, right? And then get some clarification about it, right? After acknowledging it, being a little bit more empathetic and, acknowledging it and hey, and even validating it, right? I see that this is an issue for you, right? I want to give it its just due. I see that this is an issue for you, right? Well, baby, here what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to understand right here. I hear what you're saying. All right. I'm not quite clear about where it might be coming from, or I might be clear about it, but won't you give me a little bit more to that? Because I want to have a real in-depth understanding of what it is that you're talking about. Now, what you're doing, bro, I'm gonna give you the game plan here. You slowing it down, and you are buying you a little bit more time to get out your own feelings, because more than likely she done said something that got you in your feelings. That's why the back and forth. That's why I'm looking at them. The back and forth kept going on and on because she was already in her feelings, and what he did was jumped in his feelings based upon what she was saying. Right. So here's what happens. Right. And this is why I love this Get Made podcast. I'm telling you, that's why I love it. Because I get to be in a position of kind of sharing some things that I know and some of the problems that I actually face myself. Right. Some of these things, I'm not just talking to you some textbook stuff. This is some stuff I had to kind of figure it out myself. Right. I'm not going to act like I had it all correct all the time, but I had to figure if I wanted to be a communicator, because a lot of times as men, we pride ourselves on communication. And I'm going to get back to my story because I want y'all women to understand too, is that you get tricked a lot of times. We say, oh, he's such a good listener. When all the thing he's doing is just, okay, buy this time to let you finish talking. He ain't responded to nothing. He ain't gave no agreements about anything. He has done nothing but listen to you talk. In essence, all thing he was doing was hearing you. But you got it confused that he's a good listener. And then you want to know why it changed up on you when y'all got together and y'all, you're a couple now and all this, and it don't come off the way it came off back then. Well, he's already practicing what he know and what you are experiencing. He was practicing it then. But you were so engulfed in yourself that you just running your mouth at this point. And what happened? He had to say nothing. He let you get you for him. All right. That's another subject. We'll talk about that another time. Right. That might be one of my 15-minute Friday frenzies after dark conversations I'm going to give you. Right. So when he is sitting there listening to you or hearing you talk, and you want him to listen to you so he can then respond in an empathetic and compassionate manner. He may not even agree with you because agreement is not necessary, right? He may not agree with you. And it's something that I would say, I believe that's what you believe. And maybe I want to give you an apology for giving you that experience. Now that wasn't my intent, but I want to apologize for giving you that experience. So tell me how that, I'm hearing that was a problem for you. Where in that did I go wrong with that? Right? See, bro, let me show you what you just did then. And this is what I told my man, right? I said, this is what you do then. When you do that right there, you are then saying, hey, look, I want to acknowledge you that you having a problem. Now, I'm not quite sure about this problem because I know I wasn't trying to give you no problems, but obviously you got one with me. So tell me how you got there, right? Now what you do in that, and I want y'all to understand this. I don't want to just list them out for you. I'm gonna give it to you, but sometimes these lists, although they sound good, they might get good algorithms, but they don't really mean a damn thing, to be honest with you, because the only thing you get in the list, I want to show you how to make that thing work in real time. Right? I want to show you how to do this. Right? Give a man a fish, eat for a day. Teach a man how to fish, eat for a lifetime. I'm trying to teach you how to fish here. All right. So when doing that, and then you're letting her know. I'm not quite agreeing with where you are, but I understand that this is where you are. And I want to respect where you are. I want to be present right here, right now, where you are. And so I want to hear what it is. Now, in turn, what you also can say with that. Now, I'm not going to take all the accusations that I feel like you're throwing at me. So I want you to be clear about these accusations. You saying, well, you meant to do this and you didn't. No, don't tell me what I meant to do when I'm telling you that's not what I meant to do. Right? So that's how you also stand your ground. It ain't got to be the dominant position, because that's what happens when the back and forth come up. Men, you're not going to sit there and take too much of that coming back from your woman, because at that point, yeah, you may even feel like she is tapping into that masculine energy within her at that point. And two men ain't gonna make it happen. Two men are not gonna make it happen. And so what you wind up doing, and even she might even be doing that. She might just be trying to get it across, but the energy is coming. And what you then will look at, say, she trying me, or she bucking up at me, or she doing this or doing that, which then shows disrespect or disregard or whatever it is that you want to call it. And then you get in your feelings. And then you start trying to be dominant. You want to exercise some dominance at that point. And with this grounded masculinity that we be talking about here on the Get Made podcast, dominance has no place. You don't have to show dominance. You are a man. You actually walk in that male presence, in that manhood presence. You show up that way. You don't have to be forceful or aggressive or all these type of things, because you are a man. Just be confident in being a man. Just be confident. You got to do nothing else. Be confident in your manhood. That's all you have to do. A lot of times we get pulled out of that. Right? A lot of times we get pulled out of that. Some of us don't even know how to get there. Hell, I ain't gonna sit here and act like I've known this thing all my life, right? Because I've been guilty of it myself, right? But when you pull yourself out of that, and I'm not gonna say it's gonna always work all the time, right? But it will. Over 90% of the time, it will. If you just do this, and we call this the sandwich technique, actually. Something that we give it. Acknowledge, get clarity, validate, right? And you look at it, a sandwich. You got a sandwich. I know everybody like a good sandwich, right? You got two pieces of bread, you got the filler on the inside, the cheese, the meat, the tomatoes, lettuce, whatever it is you like on your sandwich, right? I like a nice sandwich. Personally, even I'm going off on a tangent, but if y'all want to be cool with me, I like corned beef and pastrami. Jason's calling it a Yankee. Back home in Cincinnati at Izzy's, we call it the New Yorker. I like that on rye. So just in case y'all see me in your town, you hook me up. All right. But nevertheless, you have in the middle of those two pieces of bread the filler. And the filler is the clarity. That's the point I really want you to get. The middle of that is the clarity. Get the clarity. That's where the real sandwich really lies. It's not just the two pieces of bread, but what's in between the bread. Because you can have two pieces of bread together, and it's just two pieces of bread. It's not a sandwich, right? But that stuff in the middle, what makes this thing beautiful. And getting that clarity is the most important part that you can do in a conversation. Even if you and get away from the assumptions that you think you know what's being said. This is active listening. at its peak, at its finest. Ain't that textbook stuff they keep trying to run at you. Right? I'm trying to give you the real on how to do it. Right? You can go Google a list, right? You can Google that list, active listening. You can Google a list. They're gonna give you a list about 1,100,000 people going to show you how to tell you how to do it, right? With a list. I'm trying to show you how to make it work. And when you make that thing work, and you start listening, you start getting better clues about what's happening. Then what happens? You get to do two things. You get to find out two things. And I am going to tell you right now, 80% of the problems that most people have, men you are facing with your woman, really women what you face with your men, if you work two things, you get two things out the way, you got 80% of your problems solved in a communication issue. That's the value that's being violated and the unmet need. If you can get those two things cleared up, I'm telling you, and the only way you can do that is you got to listen. You got to listen. You got to pay attention. You got to be present. You got to get out your feelings. You have to be in a position of, hey, okay, I'm hearing something here. Let me tell you what I just heard you say. Right? And this might be my interpretation of it. So you can give me some clarity about it. But this is what I just heard you say. X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, and 3. Right? No, don't take it like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this right here. This is what I mean when I say this right here. Oh, okay. Then they can give you an opportunity to give you better clarity, give it to you in a different way so you can have a better understanding of where the unmet need might be or the value that's being violated. Because we get caught up on the issues of the event. And it's something there that really we have to hold truth about. It's the value that's being violated. The event is just the way it gets to be displayed or gets to carried out. The value is in the event. And you have to be able to articulate that event. And the only way you can do that, my man, brothers, this is what I told him. The only way you can do that, you have to sit back, pay attention, and listen, and calm yourself down. Is she triggering you? One thing about it, that trigger belongs to you. It's not for her to. You can't solve your triggers through her, right? You got to work on manage yourself and your own triggers, right? So when you do that and you back up, see, and I'm just trying to show up my brothers how we stepping into this manhood now, how we stepping into this masculinity, this grounded masculinity, right? Without the shadow of dominance, looking like we actually give a damn about the woman we talking to, right? That's what time it is. We actually looking like we give a damn about the woman we talking to. When you sitting down and you trying to listen. All that hollering back and forth, all that getting, real talk. You might have some anger issues. We're going to go back to the thing we talked about earlier in my first started podcast. You got some emotional deregulation going on. If you flying off the handle that deep, you can't manage your impulses. Okay, you and I might have to have another conversation on the side, outside of, this situation here. You might need to be working on something else because you are emotionally deregulated. If you can't sit down and manage yourself better than that, okay, sisters, y'all too, but I'm talking to my brothers right now. If you can't sit there and manage yourself better than that, you have some emotional deregulation going on. And we got a whole nother conversation we need to have. Because you won't be able to acknowledge anything. You won't be able to validate anything. And you definitely won't be looking for no clarity if you're emotionally deregulated. I want to say that again. You're not trying to acknowledge anything. You're not trying to validate anything. And you're definitely not looking for clarity if you're emotionally deregulated. And when you're showing this emotional deregulation, you're very hyper. You're getting angry. Your impulses are out of control. You're just saying real crazy stuff. And you got a whole nother problem going on. We might have to, we got to look at that. We need to talk about that. And I'm gonna tell you no lie, it's a lot of us out here who are very, very, very emotionally deregulated. It's a lot of us out here like that. And if you are looking at yourself and somebody trying to tell you, okay, now I don't want everybody trying to use these terms and everything, just like they use narcissism, right? Everybody's a narcissist. No, everybody's not a narcissist, right? And everybody's not emotionally deregulated, but a lot of us are emotionally deregulated. You know, that's a very simple thing, because we're not taking the time to check ourselves and to listen to what's really being said, to be able to come back and reflect on that, to then respond to it in a way and finding out, getting deeper clarity about it. We don't do these things. And this is why you're not actively listening. So I gave you active listening in a nutshell. What they call that thing, you know, the dummy version of it, right? I gave you active listening for dummies, right? I ain't calling nobody a dummy, but you know, that's the series of books that got out there. I just gave you active listening for dummies. All right. If y'all have anything else that you need to be clear about, and by all means, let's have that conversation. Let's talk about it. We can talk about this thing on the outside, not in the comments. If you want to have some privacy about it, you want to get some better conversation about it, you want to come in, you want to talk about this thing and see how you can do some work, I'm here for you. Or if I'm not your cup of tea, find somebody. Hey, it's all about getting the help. It just ain't always about coming to me, right? But get help somewhere. So with that, I appreciate y'all showing up today. As always, check me out on Instagram at the official Hassan Clay, on official Hassan Clay. Also YouTube with